I learned about this yesterday. JRZ apparently makes the cream of the crop.
That's the jam right there.
It's I heard it's the GOAT.
It's the goat?
I heard that this stuff is the GOAT.
It's the goat?
That's the GOAT.
Wow, what do you think about this place?
My eyes say it all. This is amazing. White on white with like beautiful cars everywhere. Like, this place is hard to beat. I want to come back. Can we eat lunch here?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
What are we looking at here? What is this?
Your favorite sticker in the whole shop?
This is definitely my favorite sticker.
You know, and it should stay. Like, I need Jeff to sign it. But
yeah,
that was literally because this was Jeff's collection.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. First of all, hello guys. I'm Larry Chen. Welcome to another episode of Hoonigan Autofocus. This is my good friend Joey Seeley from Emotion Engineering, and we're actually at his shop, formerly our friend Jeff Zwart's shop.
Correct.
Right? So this is actually where he had his collection and all his race cars and all his awesome things, right? Mm-hmm. On top of that, he actually had his entire film archive. He for those of you guys who don't know, he was a still photographer before he became a director / racing driver. So he actually showed me a lot of his old photos here, and it was super cool to kind of see, I guess, our careers, like how, just how they kind of match up in a way, but it's certain years apart. It's maybe 30-ish, maybe less years apart.
I think he says it's exactly 30
Yeah,
years.
yeah. So with that said, it's cool that now this place has moved on, and now it's become like an actual full-on tuning shop, Emotion Engineering, which is your tuning shop. And yeah, the sign's still there.
It's gonna stay. It's gonna stay just because it's appropriate. But it also is nice when people say, "Hey, do you mind if I take pictures?" And usually the answer is yes. But there's this special occasion where no, we prefer no pictures. But yeah, that'll stay there for memory of Jeff.
So the last time we had Joey on the show, we actually had a chance to feature his diesel overlanding Cayenne.
Correct,
right?
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun because I had a chance to slide it around, and it's a fun truck to drive. But part of it is that I guess the joke was that they're mostly mall crawlers.
Yeah.
They never actually get to see any off-road duty except for the ones that you build and some select few people.
Yeah, absolutely. It was those were a lot of fun. They still are a lot of fun. I just haven't had much of an opportunity to get out myself, but I love them because it is a proper daily driver. Something. It's not like a Rubicon that's terribly uncomfortable and overbuilt for rock crawling. These were just off-road vehicles that were capable, that you felt comfortable driving every day and going to dinner on Saturday night with your wife or girlfriend or your entire family, whatever it is. They're a lot of fun.
All right, so enough about the old stuff. Let's talk about the new stuff. Like, I see, it's like kind of like, if you look at the camera, it's like going into heaven right now. It's like just completely white except for that trash can.
Angels singing.
Yeah. So I have to just pause here for a second. Like, this scene is, there's really no other words to describe it. It's pretty epic. And this is kind of the thing that you're conveying, I guess, when you show people the shop. Like, it's ultra premium, ultra high end. It's like the best thing when it comes to Porsches and Toyotas, apparently.
Right. Yeah, this honestly, when I built Jeff's Turbo Cup car at my previous place of business that we all know about, this was our dream shop when we first came in here to meet Jeff and discuss the project outside of our own facility. And we were just kind of ecstatic about how amazing it was, the lighting and the presentation. That's the biggest part, you know. So for me to finally be in my dream shop, it's a dream come true. There's no other way of putting it. But it is the presentation, it's the atmosphere, it's the feeling you get when you come to work, but also for a new customer or even existing customer, this is somewhere you feel very comfortable leaving a car.
Well, I mean, like just looking at it just from here, you know, you see cars. I mean, that I don't even know how much the 935 is worth now. It's probably over $1 million, right?
Oh, they were originally over $1 million, and so now they're just going up in value as they hit the the used market as collectors start to unload them.
Yeah. I don't even know. Let's just say it's $2 million, $3 million. I don't even know how much it is, but they're worth a lot. And that one actually, we'll talk about it later. But it's cool to see, you know, when you do have something that expensive, you want to bring it to essentially like a surgical place, you know, because you're going to treat it right and you're going to keep it clean. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of McLaren's space.
I've heard that a few times from people, and then which is flattering.
And I think Jeff actually told me that he got inspired when he first visited McLaren. He kind of saw how surgical it was and how clean it was, and he actually modeled this place, or this was inspired by McLaren's place.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, it throws out that vibe, right?
Yeah, and for me to have something that's even remotely close to that is flattering and is a dream come true. So, you know, it's a nightmare for my techs and employees to keep it clean, but it is a little bit easier to keep clean because it already is so fresh, you know.
So before we dig into the cars, we're going to be digging into a lot of cars, including we're going to feature one car here that I think is probably going to be the most insane car I've ever driven. Period. I'm guessing.
Maybe P car. Maybe the most insane Porsche, because I think you've driven some insane stuff. But it'll definitely get some reaction out of you.
Right. But before we get into that, and I'm excited to get into that, I want to talk to you about a little bit of your history, because a lot of people who work on cars, depending on what it is, they have some way, I guess, of getting into it, right? So I know you come from a racing background.
Yeah. I mean, I started with race cars. I didn't know what a crescent wrench was. You know, when I got started at a Porsche club racing shop in San Diego, and did that for a few years. Really enjoyed it, but then I got injured in the off season and went to Washington. To where I did my rehab on my shoulder, but I ended up working for the factory Porsche race team's engineer, had his personal shop there. So I started working there and building his club racers, which was a huge step up. But while doing that and with a lot of success, I rebuilt a 993 RSR for him to run the 25 hours at Thunder Hill, and we won overall by the largest margin of victory back then. And that gave me the opportunity to race American Le Mans Series against my boss while still working for him. He gave me the blessing, and the rest is history. We started off with the 12 hours of Sebring, and my team won. So therefore, the rivalry got pretty heavy in the shop back at home. But we ended up winning the American Le Mans Series championship that year, and finishing runner-up at Le Mans. We won Petite Le Mans twice. We had lots of success, and eventually, after a few seasons, I decided to start a shop, and that was my previous shop, and did that for 8 years, and now 5 years into this one, we're still sticking away from racing, except for, as you know, Pikes Peak.
Right. Well, street cars are your passion, and like, for example, this is your personal car. I know you call it Project Nasty. Right? Yeah. I call it Project McNasty because it is like just it's a lot to chew, I guess. Yeah. It's just a lot to bite off, this thing. I've seen you drive this around the track, and it's one of the few cars that I think is awesome where the front tires lift because it's cornering too hard. And these are just on regular street tires, right?
Yeah. Our compound street tires. But, you know, to clarify, street cars aren't my passion. It's the development that we get to do. It got to a point in pro racing where there's only so much you're allowed to do. I mean, it's still great to be competitive against the other best teams, but the development, morphing a car into something different, you know, that's clearly an 80s 911, you know, which, you know, they had 200 horsepower. That has double the horsepower now, and you know, it's 2,300 pounds, and yes, it does. I have the rear very compliant because these have a hard time with rear grip. So as you're in a corner and we're sitting on throttle on the back, it'll lift the you know, inside front tire off the ground. But same with the other cars. These, you know, Porsche's GT cars are built on the same platform as the street car. So it's fun to take a street car and kind of bring some of the racing components into it. But doing it in a manner that is usable without compromise for street usability. You know, for again, like I keep quoting, going to dinner on Saturday night or whatever. It really needs to be something that you can build a car into being something that's not usable, or it's just like, I don't want to take that out. Like it's too rough, it's too loud, or whatever it is. You know, it's nice to try to mix the two tastefully, so you can actually enjoy your car all the time instead of just on the weekends and just at the track.
All right, so let's move on to the 935. This thing is like, for me, it's the centerpiece. But first thing I notice is this hasn't been driven hard yet.
It hasn't been driven at all yet. And you do notice, because that was your favorite part about when we went testing for Pikes Peak, you know, the blue titanium after they've been heated up, those tailpipes. So yeah, this is just raw silver titanium, and it's been run, but it hasn't been like, I mean, it's idled and yard driven, but it's never been driven hard. It didn't even have tires mounted on it. So we just recently got the 2 sets of spares mounted up with slicks. What we did with this car is put the Pikes Peak setup in it, what we learned from the mountain, because it still does, it still works on a road course very well, especially something for a gentleman driver. You know, I want to make something that you know, the car talks back, no surprises, which is clearly the most important thing at Pikes Peak. We want the car to have weight transfer, and you want the driver to be comfortable and safe with no surprises. So for a guy that doesn't want to push it hard, it's still a perfect setup. So
it's interesting because this is not a thing that happens over time either. I'm talking about the exhaust tips. Mm-hmm. When Jeff originally was out there testing at Willow Springs, and I was out there shooting stills, he literally just took like 3 laps and it was already blued.
Yeah.
Like, it changes so quick. So that's kind of the indication of if this car has been run hard, you know, and if it's had a chance to heat up. Because this thing it really is probably the craziest car Porsche's ever made, huh?
I don't know about that. The current, you know, competition RSR is a wild machine. The GT3R is amazing, but it is definitely the craziest they've done for a customer level. You know, because really all we ever get access to is the Cup car, which are cool cars, but it's more or less like I've been talking about, me morphing a GT3 into something a little more special. These are incredible. You know, the bodywork is phenomenal, the aerodynamics is phenomenal, and the really neat part that Porsche did that was smart is they have a street GT2 RS engine, which makes 700 horsepower, and a street GT2 RS transmission. There's some different, you know, electronics in the car, but it performs and it behaves just the same, but you know, you've got the suspension and the brakes and the lighter body, you know, and all the safety equipment, of course, of a proper race car.
I love the livery so much, but honestly, I think when it's in raw carbon, it's my favorite.
I think that's the consensus. You know, when we tested it in raw carbon, everyone loved it, and a lot of people commented how disappointed they were that we put a livery on it. But you know, obviously, you want the sponsors to see the car instead of it just going by as a black carbon blur.
So, for example, like with this one, does it come from Porsche with a livery, or did they do this after the fact?
No, they had a few different liveries, release liveries, so to speak, that they put on these cars. So this is as delivered from Porsche. You know, you even see some of the stickers in the window still. We're just going to go through, like I said, do the suspension and brakes. And it's not completely reworking, it's just tuning it slightly different. But we're going to put a passenger seat in the car and have it ready for them to do some in driving out at thermal.
You know, the crazy thing to me is that it's like, in terms of real world testing and real world racing, like how many people are out there that's actually raced these? You know, I know there's a potential chance for you to race against other GT2 RSs and other 935s, but it's like just a bunch of gentleman racers. You know, I guess what else is good? What else is this good for other than something like Pikes Peak?
I mean, it's good for lots of stuff, but really, who's going to have the guts to race a $1.5 million, $2 million, whatever it is? You know, who's going to really want to run that hard and risk, you know, a $10,000 nose, you know, or any part of it? You know, that was the biggest challenge at Pikes Peak is, you know, obviously I want to keep Jeff safe, but on a much lesser level, I didn't want to put a scrape on this carbon fiber splitter. You know, so we had to like literally not let it touch the ground as we were trying to compete. You know, and that would probably be how most people that intended to race this, club race it against other GT2RSs, they're going to keep in mind they don't want to replace anything.
That's so hard because Pikes Peak is so bumpy and this thing has so much aero, but it looks so good, and I can't wait to see what you will do with your customer. I mean, he's so lucky to be able to have somebody like you work on his car. But yeah, I can't wait to see this thing run.
And I'm thrilled to work on another one. You know, I figured maybe I would eventually, but this guy was just like, "Hey, saw your stuff at Pikes Peak. I have one. What can you do for me?" So we're literally putting the same setup on it.
Can we talk about your brother's truck real quick, just super briefly?
Yeah.
I love that this is here, and I love that. So this is going to be like an overland build, or?
So this is an overland build, and this has been all of Baja Peninsula. He's taken it all the way up to the Arctic Ocean over 6.5 weeks a couple summers ago. But most people know this, it's really down on horsepower. So when you load it up with all the gear you need, you know, he now has 15 gallons of water on board, you know, all your food and refrigerator and stuff like that, the tent, but then also running 35s. This thing's got no power. So as you can see, just sitting here, we have an intercooler, which tells you exactly what's happening.
I see them.
So we've got a twin turbo setup that we're putting into this. And you know, this is the same engine as a lot of the Lexuses that end up becoming drift cars and all that. So this engine, the bottom end is strong enough to handle some serious power. But this twin turbo kit is not, we don't want massive power. We just want enough to get it around. So it's I think he's gonna run 7 pounds of boost, you know, and it'll give it another 100 horsepower, which anybody would appreciate having that.
We're definitely gonna have to do a full feature on this when this is done.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's move on to some of your other customer cars. Let's go this way. All right, so what is this coming in for? Oil change?
Yeah, occasionally, you know, I don't do them, but if, you know, for the guys that have spent a bunch of money, you know, they want a full service shop. So yeah, I'll do that. This is just a stage 1 car, which we do quite a few of. And people call and say, I want an alignment. I'm like, you don't just want an alignment. We need to change the spring rates, and we need to put adjustable drop links so I can corner balance it. And that's what this has, along with, you know, we reduced a little bit of weight with the side muffler deletes on this car. So this one's just very, very basic, our kind of entry level, which is cool because, I mean, we do a lot of that, and we don't have to go wild like that car. You know, this is just for any person that likes driving the car. This will probably never see the track, but it's still great. It's still, you know, we make the car a little more taut and more responsive, but once again, people are surprised at how much more comfortable it is because they have this, you know, disconnected feeling from the front to rear. So once we get the spring rates, you know, to cancel out the frequencies, it's tighter, but it hits all 4 corners together over the bumps that, you know, it really actually is more comfortable than original.
This is one of the rare 3-pedal cars, like new.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's one of the few, you know, manual GT3s. You know, obviously the Touring they're all manual, but it's a phenomenal manual gearbox, and that's the way I'd prefer. When I get one, I'd actually want one just like this, white with manual, very simple. And then of course, I would build it out to where, you know, it can hang or beat up on the RSs.
Awesome. So let's talk about these two. This is stacks on stacks of Porsches over here.
So up top is obviously the big dog, the GT2 RS street car.
So you have 2 of those and a 935 here.
We got rid of one of the GT2 RSs, so but we did
They just come in and go. They just come and go.
Last week we had 3 of them here all at once. So yeah, we try to cycle through some of the smaller jobs. The bigger jobs tend to last a little bit. You know, we do a lot of development and finding solutions for cars that don't exist, which I'll get into, like this one and that one. This black car looks very basic, you know, but it is extremely special. You know, and we did some stuff that no one's done before. But yeah, this is going to come in. We're going to do the 4-way adjustable rear dampers and 3-way front that still work with the nose lift.
You know, that's the crazy thing to me, is that these are already so good, but you're just making these improvements that just make it that much better. And also part of it is, I'm guessing a lot of these things potentially could just be for comfort, for street use. And then, you know, the customer wants to go fast on the track, or they want it to last longer on track.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that's exactly it, where you want your tires to last longer, or, you know, with over 700 horsepower, you need to do everything you possibly can to make more grip. So we had that discussion, Jeff and I, probably 2 years ago or 3 years ago. He's like, I don't understand what you're doing. Why are you making these GT2 RSs and GT3 RSs faster? And I said, well, that's not completely my intention. I'm making the car easier to drive, which, yes, means it is faster. But my purpose is to give driver enjoyment and keep them safer, you know, which is quicker, you know. So you can haul ass at the track and, you know, not risk putting it in the dirt, which nobody wants to do, you know, or the canyon runs or mountain drives that everybody likes to do. I want to keep these guys safer. That's a big part of what I do now, and it's the influence of Pikes Peak, you know, is you really have to do this in a manner that's predictable and reliable, you know. So this sure, it will be faster, but it's going to be safer, and it's more for the driving experience. You know, I just did this same kit, the same coilover kit on a GT3 RS, and it's the same kit that Manthey offers for their MR package street cars. And the customer called me late one evening, and he's like, "What did you do to my car?" And he was giggling. He's like, "I'm seriously driving around giggling like a schoolboy. Like, this is incredible fun."
Schoolgirl.
You
know what? One of my favorite things about I'm sorry, we keep talking about Jeff Zwart because we love the guy and we love working with him. And one of my favorite things, like one of my favorite quotes from him, is like, "Wait a minute, what is this? This is what? Wait, this goes into drive and like." Wait, how do I shift? Like, he's never driven an automatic, and on top of that, he's never driven anything with traction control on a racetrack.
Yeah, that was his big thing this year with the 935. That made him giggle. He's like, this car is so fun. It's no stress, you know, because we built him a monster before that was just violent. You know, to give him something that was a little more civilized, 2 pedals, you know, which was kind of weird, and then having, you know, he said it was like a video game. You know, driving the 935, which is the same as the GT2 RS Club Sport, which is very similar to a GT2 RS street car. But he said it was like a video game because it was so fast, but the steering input was so different. It wasn't as visceral as he's used to. And of course, the power delivery is just wild. You know, it's not violent, but you're carrying so much speed everywhere.
Can we talk about the ugly duckling sitting down here?
The ugly duckling, yeah. I mean, you'd appreciate a lot more if the bumper was on it. But this is your generation of Porsche. It's a 2001 996 GT3 RS, which gets people confused because this is the GT3 RS race car. It was never intended for street use. So this is right before they built the GT3 RSRs. So it is all carbon fiber. Wide body.
Wow.
And you've got your runny egg headlights, but these with yellow plastic lenses, it actually looks pretty cool. And the angry front bumper, but yeah, it's all composite, and the windows are Lexan. You know, the rear flares are pretty aggressive, but this is definitely the ugly duckling. It's got a good race heritage, but it was painted so that it was somewhat restored, but intended to be used. So we're doing a mechanical restoration on this car.
This has got to be so lightweight, huh? It's smaller than the new cars, and it's carbon.
Yep. So, I think roughly the 935, although all carbon, is about 3,000 or 3,100 pounds, I believe, wet, with 5 gallons of water on board for the intercooler sprayers and all that stuff. These, if I remember, I haven't had it back on the scales yet because we're not done, but I believe we had these at 2,700 pounds. So it's 300 or 400 pounds lighter than the modern 935 or the GT2 RS Club Sport.
Yeah, but this is 3-pedal, and also pretty much everything and manual, everything just completely visceral. There's no electronic aids or anything.
Yeah, this has no ABS, it has no traction control. It's a 6-speed manual gearbox. And then this was still a little angry, but it's a 3.6 liter engine. They ended up with the RSR with a 3.8 and a sequential gearbox. And we still never, because of rules in American Le Mans Series, we still never had ABS, but we did have traction control.
Yeah, this, driving around track would be so much fun, flooring it all the time, versus that, you floor it for maybe half a second.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's kind of why I would prefer something like this, because you're going to have so much more fun in this. You're not going to be going as fast, and everyone's always competing for lap times, but really for that experience, that's what I love about Project Nasty is, it's not as fast as the 991s, but oftentimes, depending on the driver, I can hang for 4 or 5 laps with a GT3. And I'm having so much more fun. I'm sliding around. I'm getting crazy arm pump. It's a hoot, and I can't last very long. I'm done by 2 in the afternoon.
That sounds like a lot of fun. All right, so I've seen this car before, and I guess I make the joke that you basically had to sacrifice 3 other cars to make this car because of the spare tires on here. Tell me about this project if you can.
I can. I kept it secret long enough, and now there hasn't been a whole lot of progress because of Pikes Peak and because of the move. That really soaked up a solid 6 months, to be honest. So this right here is a 1,200 mile 991.2 GT3, and we're turning it into a rally car. I should not let that out, but it's been long enough. So we have spares. Yes, this is the roller.
I love this so much because people come in here and they're like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
It's just funny.
So we're not done with the development, obviously. We're still building it out. But as far as the wheels are concerned, obviously all the 991 GT3s have center lock. So I've converted it to 5-lug and run an upgraded brake, but it's smaller, so we can run an 18-inch wheel. So these are the Space Saver spare tires for the Cayennes. And because the Cayennes, I put the full-size spare on the back, these get deleted. So I'm using them as the rollers. But it'll have actually a very similar looking rally wheel on it with gravel rally tires.
I really love the off-road movement when it comes to 911s, the safari movement. I mean, we just saw recently, right, Singer just released theirs. Mm-hmm. That is just unobtainable. That's just beyond, right? Yeah. But with something like this, I'm not saying that this is more obtainable. It is, but it's cool that you're essentially converting like a street car into this kind of use.
Yeah, it's the same as I mentioned before. Is I like the development. So to transform something is the fun part. Coming up with solutions and coming up with ideas and making it attractive and functional all in one is the fun part of it. But making it perform to where it's competition worthy. Like I thought about that with the Cayennes. Wanted to be able to. I really wish we had found a place to jump the Cayenne for your last autofocus with me.
Oh, we still have time. Don't worry, and I'll drive it too. I'm not afraid.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'll let you do it because you were able to slide that thing around where I wasn't. So yeah, this is going to be competition worthy, but it'll really never be used for competition. Nasty's ready for competition. The Luft Auto Safari cars that I built, those I wanted to be able to. Somebody could take that build and just tweak a few little things and, try to run a rally or do Baja. that's kind of always what I have in mind, is overbuild it, have it ready for that kind of abuse, even if it's not going to be used in that manner. So this is, yeah, much more attainable, because those things are, the new Singer is millions of dollars. This is going to be a couple hundred, you know, but it's going to be a lot of fun for sure. I imagine once this is done, we'll build a few more.
Well, I mean, it starts with a car that's a couple hundred already.
Yes, yeah. So, but it's not going to be something that is for the public. That's for sure.
Not seven figures.
No, definitely not.
Okay, let's just briefly touch on these two. What's going on with these?
So this is one of my favorite builds, and this is actually a lot of my customers and people who come through, it's one of their favorites because it's so clean. This gentleman is doing it right, like pulling out all the stops for another manual GT3. We've done all of my control arms. So we make our own suspension components now, and that's a big focus of mine is the builds and the upgrades are important, but we're going after the parts market because that's scalable. So we have every replacement control arm for GT3s and RSs and GT2 RSs, and now we're getting it to non-GT cars. But this has all of them. We've upgraded the exhaust. It has long tube headers with high flow cats and different muffler from Dundon Motorsports, and same with all of their induction with tuning from M Engineering. So this is making about 65 more horsepower over stock. Lightweight wheels, you know, the BBS FIRs, and some visual cues. We replaced a bunch of the non-carbon parts with carbon. You know, we've got GT3 RS or GT2 RS rockers there for a little better aero on the side.
65 horsepower from an NA 4-liter motor is not a little, like, that's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot. And it's, again, it's the power is delivered, you know, especially with that engineering tune. It's so linear and so smooth. It feels like something Porsche would have offered, you know, and the sound that this makes at full tilt is just intoxicating. And this is a retired race car driver that likes to, you know, likes his toys, and he just, it puts a huge grin on his face when he drives it. So now we're kind of going to the next level with more suspension. I'm upgrading the dampers, but we're upgrading to something that these cars don't have typically, which is a full motorsport style damper that works with nose lift, because again, it's a street car, you know, and you want to get into driveways. So we're also getting in and doing a back half roll bar because it had a different brand. We're doing ours, some Alcantara and leather stitched interior bits, just a really civilized and beautiful high performance car.
I love the OEM plus thing that you're doing with these. You know, it's like, well, I guess it's more OEM plus plus.
OEM plus plus, but yeah, I mean, it's just clean and tasteful. That's always important to me because a lot of times people overbuild cars to where, like, you miss the cue. You miss what Porsche's intention was with this car, and it's a little bit, you know, too far, or the lines don't flow. It just isn't pleasing to the eye. Even color combinations. You know, this had we changed the color of this wheel to what it was. You know, it was like a brushed aluminum with a tinted clear that looked neat, but it just actually didn't look good in the sun. But this is a little more muted, a little more tasteful, but actually the muted color makes the aspect of this wheel kind of pop more. So
the thing that I'm most excited about, and I think a lot of people get excited when they see this in here, it's the only air-cooled Porsche in here, but it's your personal one, so that kind of means so much. And you've done so many things to kind of give it your personal touch on it. So can we take a look at the motor first?
Yep, let me sneak around. Yeah, this car has been, you know, a really funny project where it's, you know, I intended to have this be not a build because I had a race car before this that I street drove, and I didn't want a race car, and what do you know, I turned it into a race car basically. But this is a completely different motor than what came original in the 85 G body. This is a 3.6 liter from the 964 RS America, but almost none of that original stuff exists. Now this is a long rod, high compression 3.6 liter with custom cams, CNC ported heads with big valves, individual throttles, Motec. All of that was done by Rothsport up in Oregon. He and I have known each other for, I mean, all of my career, to be honest. So one day he called me up because I had a different ECU and I didn't have individual throttles, and it just never really quite ran to my liking. And he's like, Jojo, send me that engine, you know. So I did, and I never regretted it, because now this is just a little weapon, and it fires up without adding throttle, and it idles at a stoplight, you know, at 900 RPM, whereas before it was 1400. So it was just too much before.
What year is this?
1985.
And how much power did it originally have?
These had about 200 horsepower originally. I think they claimed 217 to 230 or something like that, and that was probably at the crank. And now it's 360 horsepower at the crank, but 285 foot-pounds of torque.
Wait, so it's 100 horsepower per liter?
Yeah, that's as far as the 2-valve head, which these are individual heads, right? So it's a 12-valve motor. The benchmark in the air-cooled 12-valve is 100 horsepower per liter, and that's where this is at.
One of my favorite things about this is the center exit exhaust just through the bumper. That's such a cool touch, and I mean, I guess it modernizes it a little bit, right?
It does a little bit. It toes the line. You know, a lot of people use this because this is a GT3 muffler from the 996. Oh, sorry, not 996, 997 and 991. They're virtually the same. This one happens to be the RS version, which is titanium, but a lot of people run them to where it's below the bumper, and that's cool. I mean, it looks good and that's functional. We just had to go the extra step and flip it upside down so that the tips would go straight through the bumper, which I just thought was kind of fun, because that's the way it originally, not originally, but on the first round of this build, it came on each side of the came out on each side of the license plate. But that design that we had made for that kept cracking, so I said, forget it, let's put a GT3 muffler. Now I don't really have a very good place for a license plate, but
you don't need that. But yeah, Motec standalone. The brakes are updated, obviously.
Yeah, the brakes are. Brembo spec'd this kit out for me specifically, knowing my driving style. This is as big as you can get for a spindle G body car, and it's got a lot of rear bias, because I really like to trail brake, or actually I shouldn't say that. I like to back it in. So you'll see when I'm really feeling good, if you ever follow me on track, I'll be sliding it in like a lot of the motorcycle guys do, and then back to throttle as soon as possible, and just your throttle steering all the way through a corner.
Yeah, that's one of the things that really surprised me about a lot of the Porsche race cars, is how much braking is done in the rear versus a traditional race car, because of how much weight is on the rear, right?
Right. You want to keep the rear of the car hunkered down, because as soon as it, all that weight pops up high, it gets a little more loose. So you want to keep the center of gravity in the rear nice and low. So if you can keep it hunkered down, which is applying brake, not evenly, but a lot of rear brake helps keep the rear of the car down and settle.
Can we talk about the interior? Is there room on that side or no? There's a lot of things that I noticed right away. Well, first of all, I like how clean it is without the seat here. I mean, this is kind of like that whole selfish thing, right? You just want it to go as fast as possible.
Well, normally I have a passenger seat in for street use, but the last time I got the car out was to go to Laguna Seca, and it was just for a track event, and I trailered it up there, so I didn't bother with putting the seat back in.
What's your time at Laguna Seca, by the way?
I'd never finished the whole weekend, so I backed out because I had a little issue where I was concerned about safety of the engine, because I had changed some stuff, so I parked it. But I guess I'll maybe never know what my Laguna Seca time is.
But yeah, tell me about the interior. Like, this is everything is so finished, including the roof skin, huh?
Yeah, that was more or less somewhat new in the the process of this car, because we stripped this down and went super lightweight with it many years ago, but then I just felt like it was too uncivilized. It was neat to see the welds in the roof, because it used to be a sunroof car, but then I was like, I want to make this a little bit more to my gentleman client now. they want to see some of the special touches. Like, yeah, we have Alcantara on the door sills and on the dashboard. And then, of course, yeah, the headliner that's attached directly to the roof skin. There's just some tactile things where, you know, you touch a few, it dampens some of the sound in the car. You know, we put little carpet pieces in these rear seats, you know.
Yeah, like little touches like that. And I also love this, like that it goes around the cage. The fact that you even thought to do that.
I wanted it to quiet it down just a little, you know, so there was a little less mechanical noise. So there's a little foam pad under that, you know, and there's actually, that bulkhead was cut out, and we replaced it with an aluminum bulkhead for a little more weight savings on this. But
I also love the carbon pieces that you cut out specifically for block-off plates for like these certain things.
yeah, this you need to still access there because that's where the transmission coupler is. This was where the handbrake was, and you know, there's a few mounting points here for the old fire bottle. You know, when I say old, because now I use the element extinguisher, and that goes and sits right there. But yeah, I just wanted to block off some holes and give it a little more of a intentional finished look, although extremely Spartan.
And the cage too. The cage is nice that it's finished, and I love that it matches.
Yeah, I always liked, you know, cages that match the body color and the interior of the car. So it started as just a back half roll cage because I daily drove this. And then, you know, I was having so much fun with it, I'll never forget. Batim was driving with me, and he felt the floor flex underneath his feet when we hit a corner on one of the like Targa trophies or just one of the weekend drives. And that was like, okay, now we need a cage. And I was no longer daily driving it, so we connected the full cage to the front suspension, and it was already to the rear suspension. So it's proper now, and it fits nice and tight. You know, we got it wrapped into the dash and attached to the A and B pillars. So.
Well, I cannot wait for this to be back up and running so I can see this on the track again. So you can't start it right now then, huh?
It does start and it runs, but I'm just a little concerned. I think we need to replace the rings. On the bottom end of this is now, I think, 10 years old. So I think some previous detonation on the old ECU may have worn out the rings a little prematurely. So
be honest, it's your heavy right foot.
It's the heavy right foot. You can't not. Like, that's the problem. And a lot of GT3 RS owners say the same. Like, I've had people sell cars just because they got so many tickets. The way this car sounds and the way it accelerates, because it weighs, with a quarter tank of fuel and 21 gallons of oil, this thing weighs 2,300 pounds.
21 quarts of oil.
21 quarts of oil. Did I say gallons?
Yeah. 21 quarts of oil, it weighs how much?
2,300 pounds. So
it's so lightweight. With 360 horsepower to the wheels.
No, to the crank. Okay. So that's, if I remember properly, that was like, it was like 305 or 315 to the wheels.
But still, with that much, or it weighing really not that much at all.
The power to weight was better than a 997 GT3 RS, a 997.2. So it was a pretty good power to weight ratio.
Incredible. Well, thank you so much for kind of giving us a quick shop tour. We're still going to feature another car here. We're actually going to go for a drive, and they actually had to go get race fuel for it. Is that correct? I'm not even ready for that. But if you guys are in Southern California and if you guys need your Porsche taken to that next level, not just regular maintenance, not just replacing parts, but really OEM++, definitely hit up Joey at Emotion. He actually works on my car, my 996, the pedestrian car. So he'll work on pretty much any Porsche that is awesome.
Yeah, anything that's awesome and you need a little something more from it. I mean, we can go wild, or we can do something that's very, very user-friendly.
Yeah, and on top of that, you work on Cayennes too. So off-road or on-road?
Just basically off-road, yeah. That's a wrap.